Cambridge curriculum is a curriculum that's developed as an international curriculum by the University of Cambridge. This curriculum covers quite a bit of depth of material, but more and more they're starting to look more into inquiry-based skills as well. So by the time you're finished your education with it, you have a lot of in-depth knowledge of your subjects that you've chosen, but you're also developing skills of inquiry and bigger picture thinking. It's split up into basically 4 levels that we would follow. That's Cambridge Primary Checkpoint, that is kindergarten to grade 5. Checkpoint Secondary 1, which is grade 6, 7, and 8. IGCSE, which in other parts of the world are known as O levels, which is basically your 9 to 11 grades. And then Cambridge AS and A level, which is your advanced studies, and these are for university applications. So our high school is primarily driven by the Ontario curriculum. But what we find is there's some students that need a little bit more enrichment and a little bit more challenge. And that's where we offer Cambridge at the high school level for our students. So the nice thing about this is the students are still applying to universities at the high school level with their Ontario marks, okay? And they're choosing which Cambridge subjects they want to specialize in for enrichment, for personal growth. And if they get a good mark on the examination, they can apply for advanced credit at the university level. High school is primarily driven by the Ontario curriculum. So the way our students are taught in the class is the class is designed to meet all of the Ontario Ministry of Education's requirements for the OSSD, the Ontario Secondary School Diploma. Our teachers look at the Ontario curriculum and also look at the Cambridge curriculum, and what they find is there's a lot of overlap of concepts. So generally speaking, at the IGCSE level, which is year 9, 10, and 11, students would cover usually about 70 to 80% of many of the syllabuses that we offer just by studying the Ontario class. Then through tutorials, independent readings, and independent coaching from the teacher to the students that are interested in a little bit more enrichment, they fill in the gaps. So the important thing for a successful Cambridge teacher is somebody, first of all, who really understands the content. You need to understand your syllabus. You need to understand what the student needs to know. You also need to understand how those examinations are marked and be able to coach the students so that not only do they learn the material, but they also learn how the assessments work, how the marks work, and in some cases develop the skills required for the practical components, depending on what exam you're talking about. So what we generally do is we start to enroll students into Cambridge enrichment examinations in semester 2, so the beginning of semester 2. Teachers will find students that would benefit from enrichment in the classroom because maybe they're bored, the pace is too slow, they need a little bit more than what the Ontario resources are offering them. Those students are asked if they wish to do it, the parents are consulted, and we write a diagnostic test. And with these diagnostic tests, we then look and say, well, how many of the concepts does the student already understand? How many concepts do we expect the student to cover in semester 2 based off the course load? And then the teacher works with the student on an individualized basis to figure out the best way to prepare that student for the examination. It's important to, again, just kind of keep the mindset that Cambridge is the enrichment of the curriculum in the high school. It's not the primary focus of curriculum in the high school. Most of our students are studying to go apply to universities or colleges using the OSSD. So if you were in Britain or you were in a true British pattern system, you'd be doing 5 to 7 IGCSEs from grade 9 to usually 11, possibly grade 10, depends on your school. And then in grade 11 and 12, you'd be doing 3 to 5 A levels, which is your specialty, which you would use to apply to university. Where we use IGCSEs in the grade 9 and 10 level would be the student that needs more enrichment in math, the student that might need more enrichment in science, the student that might need more enrichment in English, and then English as a second language, if you are still acquiring English, is another great choice for an IGCSE. We have had some students in the past that want to do Cambridge only. And depending on what their goals are and depending on their syllabuses, sometimes we can come up with a customized program to meet their needs. So Fieldstone students are eligible to write Cambridge exams that they've been nominated for by their teachers. So this would be students who are doing very well in a class and the teacher feels that more enrichment would be beneficial to the student, in which case there's no additional cost to put them into the examination. There's no additional cost for after-school tutorials. There's no additional cost for practice exams. There are a few times that students would have additional costs, and this would be, for example, in March break. Sometimes we have groups of students who are preparing for the science practicals. So we have a March break practical camp that those students can work through it, and that would be at an additional cost. So it depends on what your goal is. If you want to go to University of Cambridge, you need to have 3 A levels, or you need to have something beyond the OSSD. Likewise, Oxford. And then some other universities as well might require that. From talking to our students who did do the Cambridge program or the Cambridge examinations, where they say it really helps them is once they're actually in university. It helps them be more confident in the classroom. It helps them be a little bit above the class in terms of the body of knowledge, and especially in maths and in sciences and in English as well. So the way that we approach that is if we have a student joining us later on in high school and they're interested in AS or A level, the first thing we would do is give them a diagnostic test. So our teachers look at the Cambridge frameworks. They make sure they understand what students need to know from the Cambridge frameworks. And they also know what is covered in the Ontario curriculum versus what is covered in the Cambridge curriculum. So through this and a variety of diagnostics, we can find out, is this student ready to start studying for AS or A level? More and more, many schools are looking beyond the grades. So you need the grades, but many people have the grades. So what else? Have you started a club? That's a leadership position. What kind of community service do you do? The marks are important and the academics are important. But I find the best way to get edge on any application is to pursue something that you love. Because if you love it, it's not going to be work. I always like to say we like to get our students to where they want to go. Most of our students would get into one of their top 3 choices of universities in most cases if they're putting forth their strongest effort. Rotman Commerce in the past has been a very, very popular destination for our more business-minded students. Many years ago we had a Harvard destination. I feel it's whatever's best for where that student wants to go.